ahead and get started. We had decided earlier, we were talking, and everybody said we wanted a very short introduction. And of course, everybody pointed at me, and I'm not quite too sure why they said short. But we're gonna get going. I want to get right to the point. What you're going to hear tonight is really something. Honestly, I've never heard or seen anything like this before, and I am really excited about what's going on not only in the company, but what's going on in America and all across the world in terms of industries changing, paradigms changing, money changing hands, monopolies being broken up, and people who maybe not had afforded an opportunity to make really, really good money, life-changing money, having those kinds of opportunities. The person you're going to hear about that from tonight is someone who's really coveted in our industry by many companies. He's had incredible success in everything that he's done, particularly in our industry. And in fact, I'm just amazed at some of the things he's done in a short amount of time with this particular company. He's going to give you some very, very vital information. I encourage you to take notes. I encourage you to check this out, do your due diligence. One of the very, very fortunate things tonight is that when you go check out the company and the industry and all those other things, you're going to be very, very impressed with what you see. There are no hidden surprises or anything else. It's very, very upfront, very, very aggressive company that is growing in phenomenal ways. But tonight I want you to pay close attention to someone who, like I said, has had phenomenal success in our industry, who's going to have a lot of good information for you tonight, and you're in for a treat. Keith Yarbrough.
How's everybody doing? It's hard to live up to Steve's introduction, but as I was trying to figure out how I was going to live up to that, I was also wondering if I was on the other side of those doors right there and this was going on here. When we adjourned, I couldn't help but stop one of you and ask what's going on, because I'd want to, I don't know, I'm always curious to know what's going on, and I was telling the guys last night, we won't be meeting here very often. I mean, for very long, for the simple fact we're going to outgrow this room in a very short period of time. Those of you that don't know me, my name's Keith Yarbrough. Like Steve said, I'm from East Texas, about an hour east of Dallas. I grew up in a small town, population about 4,000. I come from a very blue-collar type family, a working-class family. My dad is a retired Dallas fireman. And I tell you that to simply let you know that the things Steve said about the money I've made or the things that I've accomplished in network marketing, it wasn't but a couple of years ago when I was I mean, working 60 hours a week like everybody else. My background's automotive industry. I worked for some of the biggest mega dealers in the United States, running upper management in the automobile business, and it didn't take very long of working 70 or 80 hours a week and me looking up after 15 years, excuse me, and realizing that I knew that I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. I looked up after 15 years and I was still, not that I was living paycheck to paycheck, but I didn't have any stability. I was just telling Jerry, there's no longevity in the car business. They've got a saying in the car business, a new broom sweeps good. You come in with new ideas and a good work ethic and saying that you're going to do great things in a short period of time, and when you're wore out and tired, you're out. One of the bosses that I worked for in Dallas had a saying, and that was that I was rich the day I hired you, and I'm going to be rich the day I fire you. And when you come in, you got new ideas and a great work ethic and a lot of excitement and stuff, they tend to go with the flow. But once you kind of wear down or become part of the same routine, it's almost like they need new ideas, whether it be advertising ideas or marketing ideas or whatever, and there's no longevity in the automobile business. So what I was interested in is I finally realized after 15 years that I didn't have any retirement. Although my dad retired from the fire department, has a very small pension, it's kind of like this. After 30 or 40 years, they're going to ask you to retire on 65% of what you have problems living on anyway. So it's kind of hard to retire. And I looked up after 15 years in the car business, and I didn't have any residual income. Didn't have a retirement. And so I knew I wanted to put forth my efforts over the next 12 or 15 years, if that needed to be necessary, unlike the last 12 or 15 years, into something that was going to pay me long term. I got involved in network marketing. I found out in a very short period of time that I could earn more in 2 years than I did in 10 years in the car business. Steve said all the right things about this company. ACN, we found a home. We had a short venture with another company that didn't work out. I will assure you that everything, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, and everything with ACN, including not only the company, but the industry as a whole, and the products and services that we offer. You look at right now, the things that are growing in our economy the most, it's paging, it's internet, it's long distance, it's utilities, things that we're going to market. And I was talking last night, it doesn't only appeal to a small percentage of the people out there. Who do you know that doesn't use electricity, that doesn't use the telephone? Stephanie made a joke last night on the way here. We passed somebody on I-71. I don't know if they were Amish people or whatever, but they were in covered wagons. You know, they probably don't use electricity or telephones, but very few people today don't have access to utilities. One of the guys that we were talking with in Monroe, Louisiana, we're trying to sponsor him, and we're talking back and forth with him on the phone. And he said, you know what? He says, if I get involved in another company, it's going to have to do with one of three things, and that's either somebody's mortgage payment, somebody's car payment, or utilities, because that's all people pay every single month, no matter what. You know, if something happens in the economy, or something happens on your job, or something happens with unemployment, or whoever's in our presidential office in the White House or whatever, our economy over the last 20 or 30 years has seen a lot of ups and downs as far as unemployment or recession and depressions and things like that. But when you look, the utility industry is really not affected by that. And what I mean by that is people still pay their electric bill, people still have a phone bill. Those are some of the products that we're going to talk about tonight. Real quickly, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on myself, but the company, the products, the industry, the timing, the position that we're in is you've got a chance to position yourself in front of what I consider, and professionals are considering, the greatest paradigm shift ever in the history of the world, and that's the deregulation of public utilities. You know, there's only 4 or 5 great paradigm shifts that happened in a century. You know, number one in the 20s was the automobile. You looked up 10 or 15 years later and the blacksmith's non-existent. You know, another one in the 70s were vinyl records. Vinyl records with CDs and cassette players are pretty much non-existent now. They say that the deregulation of utilities is the greatest paradigm shift ever in the history of the world. If you do your homework, do your due diligence like Steve was talking about, go into the internet, go to the library and pull up some newspaper articles and stuff from some of the states that are already deregulated, like California. You'll see that some of the people in California, some of the newspapers are calling it the modern day oil boom, the 21st century oil boom, or the modern day gold rush. They say it's going to be the greatest shift of wealth ever, that millions are going to go from monopolies to individuals overnight. We're with a company that gives us a chance to position ourselves in front of the greatest paradigm shift ever. Anybody ever heard of XL Communications? I think we're meeting with a man here tomorrow morning that was involved in the company, or is involved in the company. See, I'm from Dallas. That's where they're originally from, and I've got lots of buddies of mine that made a lot of money when the government deregulated telephones. Just like before in the telephone industry, see, they deregulated telephones because the government don't want anybody to have a monopoly. You see, in Dallas in the early 80s, if you made a long-distance phone call, you paid Mall Bell, you paid Southwestern Bell's rates, or you didn't make a phone call. Bar none, you paid their rates or you didn't have a phone. Well, see, they don't say that the government says that that's non-constitutional, and that the end user, the consumer, deserves to have a choice. They deregulated the telephones in '84. In the late 80s, XL, 85, 86, XL emerged. And I had buddies of mine that positioned themselves in front of that paradigm shift that went on to make millions and millions of dollars. One of them in particular, in excess of $1 million in 1 month. Can you imagine having that kind of commissions? That guy's now in our ACN organization because he knows the amount of money that he made when they deregulated the telephones. The average phone bill in the United States is $30. The average electric bill is a little over $100. So you're not talking about just making money off of long distance. We've got internet, paging, long distance, and now public utilities as far as gas and electricity. So as we talk about that, as we talk about exactly what happened with XL Communications and the deregulation, it wasn't only XL, STS, Dynasty, there was all kind of different deregulated long-distance phone companies that started. Some of them came through the Midwest here, but you got to realize that you're talking about getting with a company that is involved in the deregulation of utilities, and you can position yourself in front of, just like they did. You see, the time to position yourself is way before the major tidal wave. You want to position yourself today for what's going to happen over the next 2 to 5 years. Utilities are already deregulated. ACN is American Communication Network is licensed to pay commissions in 6 different states now. California is one of them. I'll share with the young lady today. Oklahoma is already deregulated. We're not licensed to do business there yet because we don't have a major influx of customers there yet. Georgia's deregulated. Ohio's deregulated as far as gas goes. Western Pennsylvania, Virginia, D.C. is deregulated. And just like with telephones, it's going to go state by state by state by state. And sometime over the next 2 to 24 months, probably all the states will be deregulated where we can earn commissions on them. So what we're doing right now is we're looking for a core group of people to help us acquire customers. In this business, you're looking for 2 things. 1 is customers, and 2 is customer getters. You know, share with this lady today. Sure, you want to go out and acquire customers, but the big major money. See, my goal is to override, by August the 1st, to override 300,000 customers. That's my personal goal. I can't go out and acquire 300,000 customers, but I can build a group of representatives, a group of customer getters of 30,000 that will in turn have an average of 10 customers apiece. That way I'll be able to override 300,000 people. So what you're looking for is we're building a group today, whether it be in the Midwest or anywhere else in the United States, of representatives that want to position themselves in front of this paradigm shift where we can acquire today long distance internet and paging customers. Now, when they do deregulate the utilities here in the Midwest, it's going to skyrocket your income, and your income's going to go from just earning on traditional long distance and paging and internet to earning on utilities too. I'm going to show you a video real quickly that's going to cover a lot of that. I like to show this video for one thing. I can cover everything that's in this video probably in a shorter period of time and probably a little more thorough. But that's not duplicatable. You know, this lady that we met with today in Tulsa, her name's Janice, is that correct? Janice is, you can just tell in 5 minutes speaking with her that she's an incredible salesman. She's very charismatic. She's got a lot of credibility, and you can just tell she carries herself real good. And I was telling her, I said, Janice, you know, you can sit down and show this program and probably sell it to anybody. But if you get them to passing out the videos, this is duplicatable. Anybody can pass. I was just sharing with Steve. Jake can pass this video out. He's 2. Okay? And this is duplicatable. Remember, anything that's duplicatable has got to be kept simple. And if you're one of those people that say, I can't do that, or I don't have time, those are just excuses. Those are just excuses. Anybody can pass this video out. It takes a matter of minutes. All you got to do is say, hey, Jack, there's a lot of people in the Midwest fixing to make a lot of money. Review this video. It's about 12 minutes long, and I'll get with you tomorrow to answer your questions. End of conversation. And as Steve says, tomorrow, if he hands you this video back, and for whatever reason, whether the timing's not right, he's got other things that he needs to address right now, for whatever reason, he doesn't want to get involved in the business, he's not turning you personally down. He's turning the video down. You understand what I'm saying? If you utilize your tools and you show this video to him, unlike if I sit down with him at lunch and spend an hour and a half pouring my heart out about the industry and the company and the product and how great ACN is, then if he tells me no, he's rejected me. Although he's really rejected the opportunity and the company, in your heart, you feel rejected. But if you give him the video, he reviews the video. If he's interested, he's going to ask you more questions, and you can sit down and show him how people make money and exactly what's going on. If he's not, he simply said, Keith, right now is not a good time. And you say, no problem, Jack. Appreciate you looking at it. End of conversation. The person that passes out the most video, gets people to look at it, is the person that makes the most money. Keep in mind, some of the top money earners in this company make in excess of $1 million a year. The company will be 6 years old in February. If you're worried about the longevity or is the company on stable ground, they're completely debt-free. They'll be 6 years old February the 3rd. Watch the video real quick. After the video, I'll spend about 15 minutes showing you how you get paid. I realize that there's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of other places and things you could be doing tonight on a Thursday night, but people understand we've been on the road a week. We came a long way to share this opportunity with you, and I feel that it's very, very important that you give us your undivided attention for about the next 25 or 30 minutes. And let me explain something to you. Tuesday and Thursday night are our busiest nights for ACN meetings. We just got off the phone with a guy that's having a meeting in Arlington, actually Euless, Texas. There are meetings going on right now in Albuquerque and Tyler and Houston and Austin and San Antonio and Corpus Christi and Memphis and Nashville and Kansas City and Nebraska and Denver. And people are being signed up in our organization right now. We've only been in the business 4 or 5 months. And people are getting in our business all around the United States, in Canada, in Europe, in Los Angeles, San Diego, Fort Lauderdale. People are getting in our business and acquiring customers that we're going to be able to override. Do you understand that unlike my traditional job at the car lot, when I left, my income quit? You know, we got a lady that in our business in Texas, she's a very, very successful real estate lady. Her name's Jean. She makes a lot of money. But you know what? If she's not listing a house or showing a house or listing a piece of commercial property or showing a piece of commercial property, her income quits. See, she's going to Phoenix this week to put 3 more people in the business. She said, Keith, I can't believe it. When I lay my head down at night, there are certain people that are still on the internet, and certain people that still have their refrigerator and their alarm clock and their television plugged in, and as I'm sleeping, I'm still earning money. What's the video? On the video, the next day you go to Jack, you say, hey Jack, do you have any questions? If you don't feel comfortable answering the questions, simply get somebody else on the phone, your upline, somebody that you're working with, to answer the questions that he's got. Do you understand, folks, that somebody may wake up tomorrow morning and say, I'm not going to pay the landscaper, or I might postpone balancing the tires on my car, or I might not pay the country club dues this week, or I might, postpone the piano lessons or the, gymnastics lessons or something like that. There are things that people put off and put off. They might even drop certain things and not do those anymore. People don't just wake up one morning and say, well, I believe I'm going to have our electricity cut off. Do you understand that? There are a lot of things that people postpone and vary, and they might pay and they might not. You might even postpone the car payment a week. But people pay their utility bills. They have to. 99.9% of every dollar billed in the United States for utilities gets paid. You're talking about marketing a product that appeals to everybody. Everybody has to have it. You need to know that I've worked with companies, whether it be in network marketing or the automotive industry, where people have overpromised and underperformed. People talk about what I'm going to have, things that are happening, what's going to happen. I want you to know that ACN underpromises and overperforms. In this pack that comes with the video, this info pack, is some information, an application, a vision brochure, and a reprint of the success article that Success Magazine did on our company in December of 1996. When you open it up and you look at it, and you look over here, the only product that they had available was long distance. And if you look at the dotted line, future products were paging, internet, going international. Those were future products. Now, December of 96 was what? 2 years ago? Now we have paging. Now we have internet. Now we're open in Canada. Now we're open in the UK and Germany. And I'm proud to say that we're with a company that does what they say they're going to do. They have, I don't spend a lot of time on things that are going to happen in the future, but they have plans of being involved in local telephone, cellular, e-commerce, which a global shopping mall, web TV, and anything else that comes up that they consider to be a major profit item. See, if you were opening a company today, or you had a service like Quest or like PageNet or like PSINet on the internet, what would be the most cost-effective way to expose thousands of people getting involved in network marketing? You saw the video where AT&T, MCI, Sprint, WorldCom spends not millions, billions of dollars keeping their customers through upper management, telecommunications, and advertising. See, we don't have that. We do it by word of mouth and simply asking people to do me a favor approach. Real quickly, I'm going to show you how you get paid. Those of you that are in here that don't know me from the other company, I'm just sitting here thinking, or you don't know what we've done or whatever. See, sometimes I take for granted there's a couple of us in this room that you don't have to sell on the industry, because we've seen it happen. We know what the industry can do. If you're one of those that, like I was a couple of years ago, and you got one of those traditional jobs and you've never been involved or known anybody that's had any kind of major success in network marketing, you need to know that more millionaires are produced in network marketing than any other occupation alive today. More than real estate, more than doctors, network marketing is what will produce more millionaires than any other occupation today. This is how you get paid. When you get involved in the company, there's two ways you can come into business. You come into business as a customer rep, or you can come into business as an optional field trainer. If you come in as an optional rep, it costs you $99. For that $99, the only product you can earn on is residential long distance. If you come in as an optional field trainer, it costs $499. You can earn on everything ACN has to offer. Residential, commercial, internet, paging, utilities, and any future products that they might have, international and locally. Okay? When you come in as an optional field trainer, and that seems to be what everybody's doing today, and you sponsor another rep, another field trainer, you help this field trainer acquire their 6 customers, 6 long-distance customers. When that happens, you earn $90 commission. It's called a customer acquisition bonus, CAB. The customer acquisition bonuses are paid every Friday. Whatever gets the company, like by Wednesday, they enter in the computer, they download the computer on Thursday night. Whoever's come into the organization that's qualified or has their 6 long-distance customers, a customer acquisition bonus is paid out every Friday. We normally get our check on Monday or Tuesday. Every single Monday or Tuesday. The customer acquisition bonuses are paid on a weekly basis. The residuals on the services are paid monthly, so we get 5 checks a month. The residual checks come out on the 15th. All right? I'm trying to write this, but we can leave it all up here without erasing it. I'm going to talk about an optional field trainer. When that person comes into business and he sponsors somebody, he earns $90. The first 3 people you sponsor, you're going to get $90 when they acquire their 6 customers. It's called a customer acquisition bonus. Once you have 3 field trainers, and once you have 20 customers, not long distance, but a combination of long distance, internet, paging, utilities, and understand that your personal lines count. If I put Jack in the business, he has a home phone, a fax phone, a computer phone, and his daughter has a phone. If they're all billed separately, that's 4 customers. If he has internet, that's 5. If he has a pager, that's 6. If his daughter has a pager, that's 7. So he's got 7 customers right there in his own household. You're looking for 20 customers and 3 frontline field trainers. I'm going to change this to $90 to field trainer. A field trainer, a field trainer, and a field trainer. When that happens, you go to the next earned level of executive field trainer. When you become an executive field trainer, anybody you personally put in the business, you don't make $90, you make $150. Anybody you frontline sponsor, anybody you put in the business. You're an executive field trainer, you put Joe in the business, when you help Joe get his 6 customers, your cap bonus for that Friday is going to be $150. What happens when Joe puts somebody in the business? When Joe puts somebody in the business, you help them get their 6 customers, this guy's a field trainer, Joe's going to make what? $90. You're going to get the overrides of 60. You're going to get the difference between 150 and 90. You're going to get $60. All the way back over here. This guy puts somebody in, he's going to get $90, you're going to get the 60. This guy puts somebody in, he's going to get the $90, you're going to get the 60. This guy puts somebody in, he's gonna get the $90, you're gonna get the 60. Infinity until another EFT breaks. Do you understand that? When somebody else sponsors somebody else, if they're not an executive field trainer, they can earn $90. You're going to get the difference between $150 and $90, which is $60. Once you have 5 field trainers, and you have a total of 200 customers in 3 different legs. That could be a combination of 1 person with 200 or 10 people with 20, 200 people with 1 customer. Any combination of 200 people in these organizations, regardless of which one of the legs, 3 organizations, you go to the next level of field coordinator. Once you become a field coordinator, you personally put somebody in the business, you don't earn 90, you don't earn 50, you earn $240. That's the position I'm at now, field coordinator. When I frontline sponsor somebody, help them acquire their 6 customers, I get $240. If I put Joe in the business right here, help him get his 6 customers, on Friday, my cab check is going to be $240 for that person. When Joe goes and gets his person, Jim, puts Jim in the business, guess what? Joe gets 90. Guess what I get? 150. I get the difference. Infinity. Until another field coordinator EFT breaks. This person gets in the business, this person gets $90. Guess what? I get the 150. $150 off of everybody that comes into the organization until another EFT or field coordinator breaks. Once you're a field coordinator, the last earned position is called RVP, Regional Vice President. To become a Regional Vice President, I don't know why I keep putting R. Regional Vice President. To become a Regional Vice President, you've got to have 5 different legs with a field coordinator in it. It does not have to be somebody you frontline sponsored. It can be somebody you sponsored, brother's sister that lives in Tucson that becomes a field coordinator. You're looking for 5 legs that have a field coordinator in it. When that happens, it entitles you to profit sharing, expense allowance, car allowance, and the infinity bonus that I'm fixing to tell you about. There have been people become RVP as quick as 5.5 months. There have been people that it took them a year and a half, 2 years. People on a part-time basis don't work but a couple hours a week. I heard one guy on a tape the other day, he had 2 jobs, took him 4 years to become RVP. But understand 99% of the business work, 99% of the people work the business on a part-time basis. I've got a guy in my organization now that's probably going to go RVP in 90 days. He's going to set a new record. Once you become RVP, it entitles you to a one-time matching bonus. That's what we're going to talk about real quickly. Those of you taking notes understand there's 3 ways to earn. The first way to earn is your personal customers. If I go get Mr. Hadley as a customer and Jack as a customer, anybody that I personally acquire as my customers, not as a representative, the first way to earn is I want to earn 2 to 8% on my personal volume. Anybody that on my personal customers, okay? Any of your personal customers, you're going to earn 2 to 8% of. The second way to earn is your cab money, customer acquisition bonuses, and it's paid weekly. Okay? The third way to earn is the first through 7th level. And it varies from 1/4% to 6%, depending on what level they fall on. I'm going to explain it to you. You heard me say that, sure, you want to go out and acquire customers, but what you're wanting is a lot of customer getters. You see, I can't get 300,000 by myself, but a combination of everybody in this room and all over the United States, I think I'm going to be able to hit my goal. Here's what's going to happen. This is you. You're going to go out and you're going to acquire a customer. You're going to acquire a representative. The example that I'm going to use is 2 to get 2. Now, I think a very realistic goal the young lady was talking to today, I think everybody can go get one customer a week. One customer a week. And I think in this business, we've got a lot of people that have, Steve and I was talking about today, we have almost fantasy type goals and things that we plan on achieving over the next 24 months. But I think in this business, you've got to make it doable for the average person. And I'm going to try to explain something up here that everybody can do, and that's acquire one customer a week for a year. One internet, long distance, or paging customer for a year. If you can get one customer a year, at the end of the year, if you take 2 weeks vacation, you're going to have 50 customers. Okay? Now, what's 1 year of working on a part-time basis for a chance to become financially independent? You've been doing what you've been doing a whole lot longer than a year and you aren't financially independent, right? Okay? So you're going to try to get 50 customers over the next year. What's going to happen is you're going to look for 2 people to do the same thing that you do. And what's going to happen is these 2 are going to go get their 2. They're going to do the same thing. And on your first level, you're going to have 2 people. And on the second level, you're going to have 4. And on the third level, you're going to have 8. And on the fourth level, you're going to have 16. On the fifth level, you're going to have 32. On the sixth level, you're going to have 64. And on the seventh level, you're going to have 128 reps. 128 representatives. Now, I'm not talking about going 5 wide. I'm talking about you personally going to find 2 people that can do the same thing you do, and all of you acquire 1 customer a week for a year. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to have 128 reps on your 7th level. 128 reps. Everybody's going to have 50 customers. I'll do the math for you. That's 6,400 customers on your 7th level. The average long distance bill in the United States is $30. That's $192,000 in billing on your 7th level. Just long distance. The 7th level pays 6%. That's $11,520 a month. Remember, they always pay their long distance bill, right? Always pay their long distance bill. May not pay the car payment, may not pay the country club dues, may not pay the health club or the YMCA, but they're going to pay their long distance bill, right? This is what's going to happen. 128 reps that have 50 customers apiece is 6,400 customers. 6,400 customers at the United States average of $30 in long distance is $192,000 times 6%, $11,540 a month in commissions is going to be paid to you. Now, I was sharing the other day that let's say it's not going to, somebody told me, said, Keith, it's not going to happen mathematically perfect exactly like that. You go out there to somebody that gets 200 customers and somebody that don't get but 10. So I told Steve the other day, let's play like that doesn't happen, and only 40% of that happens, and you end up with $5,000 a month in true residual income. 12 months out of the year, that's $60,000 a year. That doesn't sound like a lot of money, but those of you that are familiar with banking and know that a jumbo CD brings 6%, you need $1 million in the bank to net you $60,000 a year in income. Now, you think it's going to be easier to save $1 million at your traditional job or build this business to $5,000 a month? Folks, I worked 15 years, 80 hours a week, and woke up at the end of 15 years and didn't have a residual income. And I thought to myself, Keith, if you're just as successful the next 15 years, between 35 and 50, as you were between 25 and 35, you're still going to be living month to month at the end of 50. Bear with me just a moment. The third way is your residual income. That 2-year span, ACN is offering the representatives because Quest offered it to them a performance bonus. They're going to take the reps volume from July of '98 and the reps volume from July 2000, and the amount of increase over those 24 months, they're going to offer a one-time matching check. What happened is Quest acquired LCI for $4.4 billion. Y'all businessmen in here that think, oh, this is a fantasy, and I'm throwing a lot of numbers up, listen to me real quickly. I've got it documented in articles and magazines and USA Today. Quest bought LCI for $4.4 billion. 55% of all of LCI's customers were acquired from ACN representatives. On August 1st of '98, ACN got $80 million. $80 million. They said that's payday number one, payday number two is going to come in 24 months. We're going to give you a performance bonus, and the amount of increase in build volume that you have in those 24 months, we're going to give you a one-time matching check. And ACN has in turn came around and told the RVPs that we're going to give it to you. If you become a regional vice president, when you become a regional vice president, they're going to match the build volume in your organization. If Bob Hadley's residential phone bill is my personal customer, and I'm earning 8% of that, and his bill's $200, they're not going to match the $16. They're going to match the $200. They're going to give a one-time matching build volume in my whole entire organization. Now here's what's going to happen. In the other company that Steve and I and some of the people in this room are in 18 months I put 30,000 people in the business. I didn't put, a combination of all of us put 30,000 people in the business. It cost almost $2 grand to get involved at the top level. Simple math. You got 30,000 reps. The average rep in ACN has 10 customers. That's 300,000 customers. The average monthly bill is $30. That's $9 million if I can do the same thing in the next 18 months. $9 million that they're going to have to give me a matching check. Anybody in here know a company here in Joplin that's offering that kind of performance bonus? Understand, folks, that what we're talking about and multiplying that out, 128 reps times 50 customers is 6,400 customers. 6,400 customers at $30 is 192,000. I think what's more important than the 192,000 is the fact that that's long distance only. No paging, no internet, no utilities. That $30 average is going to turn around and be a $130 average over the next couple of years.
Your gas bill is $203.
There you go. $203 for a gas bill. I know y'all have higher bills in the winter. In Texas, we have months in the summer, July and August, that our electric bill is $500 or $600 for an electricity bill. Now, real quickly in closing, I want to let you know that our main concern, what we're looking for here, is some people to step up to the plate and say, hey, Keith, I know a lot of people, not just in Joplin, but Springfield. We're going to be having meetings in Topeka. We're going to be having meetings in Lawrence. We're going to be having meetings in Columbia. We're going to have meetings in St. Louis. We're going to have meetings in Oklahoma City and Little Rock and Tulsa and Nashville and Memphis. And those people in those towns are going to acquire customers that some of the people in this room is going to override. And you can sit back, just like a lot of people, and say, it's not going to happen, or it might happen. Folks, it's happening. It's happening today. It's happening right now. Not tomorrow, not next month, not in the spring. It's happening right now. Yes, dear?
You brought a point out there, and I mentioned forget about the email.
Yes. Here's what's happening. I'm almost, some of these guys are, I know are computer experts. I'm almost illiterate when it comes to computer. I don't know if you can relate to that or not, but there are things that this company's putting together with the global shopping mall where you're going to be, people are going to be able to purchase things off of there and you earn a commission on it. But Steve had a comment last night, one of the guys from Nebraska emailed, what, 200 people?
Yeah, he emailed 250 people. He didn't know. And got 30 to 50 responses back the very next day, positive, saying, I want to hear more. He set appointments with most of them. He met with 6 of them today. I talked to him after the first 2, and they're both in.
Yeah, something to the point of position yourself today to override public utilities as they're deregulated in our area. For additional information, contact me. Something to that sort, and he got 35 or 40 response in one day. You know, if you have access like you guys do to exposing the masses, that's where it's at. In this particular case, this guy didn't even know them all. I don't know if they go into a chat room or where he got the addresses to send it to, but he's exposing the masses. And what I'm telling you is, traditionally in network marketing, it's built with your warm market. Friends, neighbors, co-workers, and relatives, people that you personally know. The do me a favor approach, hey, you need to know about this. I love and care about you. You know, let me ask you this. If you backed your truck up out here to a ditch, and it was completely, and you found a gold mine, and you could fill your truck completely up full of gold nuggets to where the bumper was dragging the ground when you pulled out of here, who would you go tell about it? Who would you go tell about it to come back here and get some? You couldn't come back. You couldn't come back. You got all you could get. Who would you go tell about? That's the people you need to go tell about this business. It's that important.
I got some friends, Jack and Kay, I'm going to talk to.
But remember, seriously, folks, remember that I promise you. Bob told me that I left this out last night. Understand that you've got to let everybody you personally know about this. You've got to let everybody know. It's only going to happen once. I promise you, those of you that are taking notes, some of you got a day planner. Steve, you can write this down. A year from now, next February, there's going to be people in our room, and it'll be a lot larger than this, that say, boy, Keith, if we could just back up to February last year. If we could just back up to February of '99, where I had 18 months to build this business. Because you know what? August the 1st, I'm going to be on that stage getting my check. And guess what? We have the same 24 hours in the day, the same geographic location we can do business in, the same business opportunity, but there's going to be some people up there that get a large check and some people that's going to be saying, whoosh. You can never say it again, folks, that, oh, Joe was lucky, he was in the right spot at the right time. I've never had a break. I've never had a break. And I challenge you business guys in here, your people that are, you know, everywhere we go, we got a couple of skeptics or a couple of people being negative. If you've got a business opportunity that I can get involved in for less than $500, that I can set my own hours, and I've got unlimited income potential, and I have the potential to make the kind of money that I'm going to make with this company with such a minimal amount of money up front, I mean it. I'll do it. I was talking to somebody last night. I don't believe a drug dealer could turn $500 into $9 million in 18 months. If every policeman put blindfolds on, I don't believe he could do it. It's incredible.
But the interesting part there, Keith, is you didn't have to lay those optic lines. I've got fiber optic lines up at my property. If they interrupt those lines, $20,000 an hour. That's some of the big things.
Your traditional businesses, I was reading a deal in USA Today, and I'll close with this. USA Today said, in traditional businesses in America today, number one is you need to be willing to work 3 years before you break even. And number two is you need to be willing to invest 5 times what you want to make annually. In other words, if you want to make $100,000, you need to be willing to invest $500,000. Now, we're talking about traditional businesses. That's not to say that somebody's got one that's a little bit better or whatever. But traditionally, if you want to have $100,000 a year net income, the amount of, whether it be an auto parts house, a restaurant, whatever it is, you need to be willing to invest 5 times what you want to earn. And in this particular case, it's much better than that because you got a very minimal amount. I told somebody yesterday, I wish it cost $10,000 to get involved in ACN. Because if it cost $10,000 to get involved, you'd get up tomorrow and go to work. But because it costs so minimal, people don't treat it seriously. You see, my ACN business is responding like a multi-million-dollar corporation right now because I treat it like a multi-million-dollar corporation. But if you treat your ACN business like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. You treat it like a part-time business, it'll pay you like a part-time business. Y'all guys don't know what it's like to call one week and get a copy of your organization, and you got 400 and something customers, and you call back a week later, and your customers are in the thousands. That's what's going to happen in a matter of days. It's going to multiply and people sending customers in, and I'm overriding customers right now all over the United States and Canada and even Europe. Remember this in closing. Go home tonight and look at your checkbook. Look at the balance. You don't have to tell me, it's none of my business. But remember one thing, if you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. See, folks, my definition of stupidity, and it's kind of hard, is to keep doing the same thing you've been doing and expect different results. See, to get different results, you have to change. I promise you, nobody was as hard-headed and set in their ways as I was. I was hard-headed, set in my ways, didn't want to listen. We're going to break for about 10 minutes. We're going to have a real quick, probably a 10-minute quick start training to let you know exactly what you need to do. Your weekly meetings are here on Tuesday night, is that correct?
Right.
Every Tuesday night, they're going to meet here until we outgrow this room. All you got to do, folks, is it's not about credibility, it's not about work ethic, it's not about speaking, it's not about vocabulary, it's not about your age or your race or your religion. Just go grab a couple of people and say, hey, Jack, I've known you a long time. There's a lot of people here in the Midwest fixing to make a lot of money. What's 1 hour to come look at something that might change you and your family's lives? Follow me down to the iron horse or whatever. Takes all the burden off of you. All you got to do, folks, is take the attitude of that you want the burden off of you. Bob, I've known you a long time. A lot of things are happening here. I don't want you to be mad at me. At least come take a look at this. If you make a decision to not get involved, then I'll respect that. Next time we'll talk about fishing or the Super Bowl or something. But you've got to take a look at this. Make everybody you know, everybody that you care about, take a look at this. And then a year from now, if you're making $10,000 a month, they can't be mad at you. Do you understand that? In the other company, I had people, friends of mine that I used to work with, that I didn't expose the opportunity. When they found out how much money I was making, they took it personally. You have an obligation to let everybody you know about what's going on and know about the deregulation that's going to happen in the Midwest, and that they can position themselves today in the forefront to earn the kind of money that we're talking about. And you know, we talk about a lot of money, but in this particular case, folks, you're talking about fantasy type money. Fantasy type money. I like to always end by saying this. I realize your time's valuable. You know, I've always taught that you can go borrow a lawnmower or $100, or you can borrow your buddy's car next door, and you can always give that back. But something you never ever get back is your time. And I realize that you guys' time's valuable too. You've got families and friends and things going on here locally that are important. I appreciate it, and I commend you for coming out to take a look, whether it be looking for an opportunity or simply out of respect to the person that invited you here. But God bless you and thank you very much. Renewal fee annually. And what that does is the renewal fee, it entitles you to updates and business journals and things like that they send out. They've got a vision brochure that they send out quarterly that has updates of things that are going on with the company and promotions and things like that, and it entitles you all that. When you talk about having you know, 300,000 representatives, they say 90,000 renewed this year. You talk about having 100,000 active representatives. When you talk about printing the material and mailing it out in bulk form, it becomes rather expensive to keep your reps around the world updated on what's going on. That's what the renewal fee is. But yes, there is a renewal fee, and it's $49 annually. Okay, real quickly on the training, I'm going to go over just 4 or 5 real quick things here. Number one, the first thing you need to know is make a decision. Make a decision, either you're in or you're out, you're going to do it or you're not going to do it, out of respect to the person that invited you, and because if you're not going to do it, then put your efforts towards something else. But the first thing you need to get your people to do is make a decision. Whether they're in or they're out, they're either going to ride the boat with us. I got news for you. The boat's leaving the dock. And I mean, it's happening quick, it's happening fast, and you want to get all the people that you can into business. So I've always been one of those people that was not a hard closer, that simply said, I understand if you want to think about it, you don't want to make an impulse decision, you want to pray about it, you want to talk to your spouse, whatever the reason is. But in this particular case, you've got to get your people to make a decision. You've got to feel comfortable putting your credibility on the line. You've got to go to them and say, Steve, I've known you a long time. I know this is your first exposure to the business. You only watched the video. I answered a few of your questions, but trust me. I've known you 9 years, Steve. Trust me. I mean, you know, in Kansas City, I was telling those people up there, what's $500? They go to the boat and waste that. You know, waste that on one hand of blackjack or one hand of the dice or something. I mean, what's $500 when you talk about something that might change your life? I had a guy the other night. He said, Keith, I don't have $500. I said, I'm $490 away from having $499. I said, what do you do for a living? He said, I drive a truck in Grand Prairie for a company named Swift. And I said, how long have you done that? He said, 17 years. And I said, if you don't have $500, you've been working for them 17 years, how in the world do you think the next 17 years is going to be different? Are you going to have $500 in 17 more years? And he drove an 80-something model Chevrolet pickup, and I asked him, I said, you know, what are you driving? He said, that Chevrolet pickup, nice truck, 200-something thousand miles. I said, how far is it from where you live to work? He said, 68 miles. And I said, if that truck broke down on the way to work today, and the transmission went out in it, and it was going to cost $500 to get your transmission fixed, what would you do? He said, I'd go get the $500. I said, you just told me you don't have $500. He said, well, I'd have to go get it somewhere. He said, I'd have to sell something, or call Uncle Joe, or call my grandmother, or call my dad, or borrow from my brother, or do something. I said, so you're telling me you'd go borrow $500 to fix that old truck that takes you back and forth to that 17-year job that's got you broke, but you won't go borrow the $500 to get involved in something that might change all that. So those things like I don't have time or I don't have the money, those are all excuses to me. And I have this saying that I've always said, and that is people that make excuses don't make money, and people that make money don't make excuses. Okay? So those things like I don't have time or I don't have the money, those are all excuses to me. But number one, you want to make a decision. You want to make a decision to do this business. I don't care if you've got a full-time job and a part-time job and you help with the youth group at the church. You know, however busy your schedule is, that just entitles you to, it gives you an opportunity to talk to more people. But even if you get in this business and commit to as minimum as 2 to 5 hours a week. Now, if I was sponsoring Steve today, I'd ask him for a minimum of 10 hours a week. That could be 5 on Saturday and 5 on Sunday, or 10 on Saturday, or 2 hours each night during the middle of the week to make phone calls. I'm going to ask you for 10 hours a week. Now, if you can't give me 10 hours, am I not going to sponsor you in the business? No. There are people in this business that make consistent income on 2 to 5 hours a week. It's just going to take a little longer. But understand, I don't tell people to quit their job. I don't tell people to quit their hobbies. I don't tell people to quit the fellowship that they have with their church, or the soccer team, or the baseball team, or the bowling team, because that's where the people, you know, a guy told me the other day, said, if I do this, am I going to have to quit the bass club? He's a bass fisherman. I said, absolutely not. I said, how many people's in your bass club? He said, 216. I said, there's 216 people that would love to fish all the time. You know, they don't want to have to work. So that's where you're going to get your contacts from. You know, my sister made a lot of money. She cut hair even when she was up making 6 figures monthly. She was already making 6 figures annually. And I asked her, I said, why in the world are you cutting hair? She said, where do you think I get all my clients from? Where do you think I get all my customers from? She said, I have their undivided attention. They can't get out of the chair. You know, they've got to listen to my spiel. So I mean, you know, I'm not telling anybody to quit their job or their hobbies, because that's where you're going to get your contacts from. But number one, you need to make a decision to do the business, commit to whatever, however many hours a week that you can commit to. Number 3, if you're in this business, if you're already in this business, you've been in for a while, or if you're just looking at it today, set yourself a goal to go EFT in 7 to 10 days. Now, to become an EFT, you've got to have 3 frontline field trainers, and you need 20 personal customers. Now, what I'm going to do if I sponsor Steve today and I help him become an EFT in the first week is I'm trying to get Steve to where Steve's got his own story, where he don't have to tell the Keith Yarbrough story or the Bob Hadley story or the Steve Epperson story. Steve's going to have his own story. That way, when Steve goes talks to his people and they says, well, Steve, how long have you been in business? Well, I've been in a week. I've got 3 qualified frontline field trainers that are on my team, and I've personally got 26 customers. Well, somebody's going to say, well, if Steve can do it, I can do it. But if you go to somebody 90 days down the road and you say, well, I sponsored one guy and he's not qualified, and I have 5 customers. You see what I'm saying? You want to immediately get them out of the gate and get them a success story. Get these people a check. What's going to happen? He's going to get $90.99. He's going to get $90. Now when he personally sponsors somebody as an EFT, he's going to get $150. That puts them on their way. Okay? If he has 20 customers, what's Joe and Jim and Susie going to do? They're going to set their goal to have their 20 customers and get their field trainers. Set yourself a goal to become EFT in 7 to 10 days. I say a week. Put emphasis on that brand new rep. Somebody here today, and they do paperwork, they get in the business, 3 or 4 of you guys, Jerry's going to be new in the business. 3 or 4 of you guys need to come to Jerry and say, hey, Jerry, I'm your business partner. Tonight's Thursday night, we're going to do your paperwork, and next Thursday, Jerry's going to be EFT. We're going to get you your 20 customers. We're going to get you your 3 qualified field trainers. We're going to get those 3, what are we going to do with those 3 field trainers? We're going to make them EFTs in 1 week. Guess what? If Jerry does it, I can do it if he sponsors me. Jerry sponsored me. He says, I want EFT in 7 days. Guess what? I'm going to shoot to go EFT in 7 days. So set yourself a goal, even if you're already in the business. I know some of the people in this room have been dormant for a while through the holidays or whatever. If that be the case, re-sponsor yourself today. Say, okay, I got in the business in November. I kind of wasn't paying attention through the holidays, had a lot of things going on with my family, but Keith came to town. We had 2 meetings back to back, and somebody says, well, Steve, how long you been in business? Well, I've been in since November, but I recommitted myself and got serious January the 28th. Last Thursday's when I got serious. Once I got serious about the business, I went EFT in a week. So if you're in the business and you've kind of been dormant for a while, re-sponsor yourself today. Write your goals down. You know, one of the things I shared the other night is to write down 10 things that you most want out of life. Whether it's to tithe more to the church, do missionary work, build an orphanage, build a dream home, pay your car off, pay your mom's credit cards off, whatever the 10 things that you most want in life is, write those down. Mine are on a magnet on my refrigerator. I have to look at them every day. Write those 10 things down and ask yourself, doing what I'm doing at that traditional job, are those things realistically obtainable in the next 24 months doing what I'm doing? If they're not, then direct a little more effort towards your ACN business. Make 2 more phone calls before you go to bed. Get up 15 minutes early where you can make a couple of phone calls. Go see somebody at lunch. Every single day before you lay your head down at night, ask yourself, what did I do today to better me and my position with ACN? What did I do today? And what I do is I simply ask myself, and I like to grade myself. I told a group of people in Dallas the other day, some of them kind of been working the business, some of them haven't. Some of them been in the business about 60 days. I said, if we were taking applications today for independent representatives for ACN, and I passed out applications to everybody in here, and you filled it out, what you had done with your ACN business over the last 30 days, and we put you at this table in the back to review the applications, based on what you've done in the last 30 days, would you hire yourself? Would you hire yourself? Or would you be one of the ones that didn't get the job? You see, I know I'd hire myself. What I'm trying to do is I'm looking for 5 keys. If that be the case, I know I'm not going to have to worry about it anymore. That's what you're trying to do. You want to lead by example. But number 1, make a decision. Number 2, commit and write down how many hours you're going to work. Set a goal to become a minimum of EFT in 7 days. And if you're going to get serious about the business, I think you ought to set a goal to become field coordinator in 90 days. All you're looking for 3 key people that can acquire 200 customers in each leg. You're looking for 3 people that can acquire 200 customers. Now you say, well, that sounds crazy. Marty sponsored a 21-year-old kid the other day. His partner's 20. 2 kids went in partnership together. In 2 days, they got 98 customers. They're 20 and 21 from Ruston, Louisiana. These kids don't have an education. They don't have any credibility. They're a perfect example of ignorance on fire. You've heard ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice? Well, you look up ignorance on fire in the dictionary, it's got Daniel's picture beside it. So that's him, I'm telling you. This little kid, I don't know how he does it. But they sent him through a day of training. They told him to go back and get one of his buddies. He went back. He came back 2 days later. He had 98 LOAs. 98 of them to turn in with his buddy's paperwork. You know, so what that does is it tells me and some of my key people that we haven't been contacting enough customers. So, but write down the day you want to go EFT, approximately when you want to go field coordinator, approximately when you want to go RVP, and it better be before August of 2000. And what you're doing is you're looking for 5 key people to go RVP. 5 key people. Remember this, a goal that's not written down where you can review it on a day-to-day basis is merely a wish. I mean that, folks. If you have a goal to get out of credit card debt, or to build a dream home, or to buy a car, or to tithe more to the church, if you have a goal and it's not written down where you can review it on a day-to-day basis, it's merely a wish. Somebody asked me the other day, said, Keith, what are you looking for in this business? I'm looking for somebody with a dream. 2 things you're doing. You're looking for somebody with a dream, and you're looking for somebody with a dream that's willing to fight for it. If you've got a dream, and you're not willing to fight for it, it's simply a fantasy. I'm looking for, I don't care if he's an 18-year-old kid that's a 5th grade dropout. If he's got a big heart and a dream and he's willing to fight for it, I can put him in ACN and make those dreams become a reality. But if you're a dreamer and you're not willing to fight for it, you're simply trying to reach a fantasy. It's not going to happen. Let me tell you, ACN is a great vehicle that helps those dreams become a reality if you're willing to get in the vehicle and go to work. So number 1 is make a decision. Number 2 is commit to 5, 10, 15, 20 hours a week. I'm working about 50 hours a week. Number 3 is write down your goals when you want to become an EFT. The next thing you want to do is make a list. If you're here tonight and you have prospects here, you're successfully